Now here, the writer of Hebrews shows us that even though these sacrifices were mandatory, they were never enough. They didn't really solve the problem. They just postponed God's wrath towards sinful people to the future. Another problem we see here is that the high priest who offered sacrifices needed a sacrifice themselves. So before they offered a sacrifice on behalf of others, they needed to offer a sacrifice for themselves, especially on the Day of Atonement. They were in danger, just like the people they represented. Now just think about that. You trust someone to represent you before God, but that someone is not worthy to be trusted because he is guilty before God himself. That was the story of these people. However, as we saw earlier, Jesus is holy and perfect. Therefore, he came only to deal with other people's sin. He came to deal with the problem of sin once and for all. This is the problem that existed from as far as Eden. When Jesus came, more than 1 million lambs had been sacrificed in daily offerings, not counting many other lambs and bulls and goats that were sacrificed in other festivals. Beloved, millions of animals were sacrificed. Thousands of priests were involved in offerings. And more than 80 high priests entered the most holy place, but none were able to deal with sin. But the writer of Hebrews tells us that Jesus is the perfect high priest who dealt with sin once and for all. He dealt with it by offering himself as a sacrifice. All high priests before him were merely offerers who needed a sacrifice to perform their duties. But Jesus became both the offerer and the sacrifice. He became both the perfect high priest and the perfect sacrifice. Who else do we need other than Jesus? He's the only one who was able to satisfy the wrath of God. And it is because of him that there is hope for us. It means he's the only one who is able to represent us before God forever. And because he's a perfect sacrifice, he has offered to God himself so that we may be freed forever. No sin for us to pay if we are in Christ. No guilt for us to bear if we are in Christ. Just lean upon him and you'll be free from guilt forever.